We will never forget the disturbing scene that day. A worried and perplexed farmer called us after hearing the faint cries of a puppy in the middle of the undergrowth. As he approached, he found a small puppy lying motionless in the tall grass. The place was remote and barren, covered in dry branches and muddy earth. To his surprise, there were 5 puppies in the bush, but only one of them still showed signs of life. This puppy, the only survivor, was letting out almost inaudible whimpers, calling for help. Stuck in the wet, icy mud, he was so weak that he was clinging on with every ounce of energy he had left. His situation was desperate, and the difficult-to-reach location required the use of a dry branch to lift him without hurting him further. Finally, with care, we managed to bring him into our arms, where the little panting and terrified creature felt the first gentle touch. The puppy's body was covered in mud and gave off a strong odor due to the dirt and the proliferation of ticks all over his body. Faced with his alarming situation, the farmer kindly offered to temporarily shelter him in his home, and we began the first emergency care right there. In a basin of warm water, we cleaned each part of his body, removing the ticks one by one and relieving his wounds. He slept soundly during the process, too exhausted to react, as if his body had finally found relief after so much suffering. The puppy was young, perhaps only 2 weeks old, and we could not understand how he and his siblings had ended up in such precarious and isolated conditions. We knew that no mother dog would choose a place like that to protect her puppies, which led us to believe that someone had abandoned them there intentionally. From that moment on, we decided to fully commit ourselves to his recovery. Feeding him required patience and attention. Every 2 hours, we offered him milk with a syringe, as he was still too fragile to drink on his own. At first, he could only take small sips, and caring for him became an intense and delicate task. We slept little to meet his needs, but his life depended on this constant care. His eyes, swollen and watery, needed frequent cleaning, as the accumulation of secretions made him uncomfortable. But little by little, we noticed signs of progress. On the 7th day, our little warrior was able to drink milk without help and even tried to stand up, struggling courageously, which filled us with hope and relief. We chose the name Andrew for him, a symbol of strength and overcoming. With each small advance, a feeling of relief and joy took over us. With the help of the farmer, we searched the neighborhood, trying to understand if there was a dog looking for her puppies. However, we found no sign that the mother was nearby, reinforcing the idea that he and his siblings had been left there by someone without a heart. Despite his traumatic history, Andrew quickly found comfort with the other dogs on the property. Without his mother's presence, he sought in them the affection and warmth he so desperately needed, as if they were his family. These moments of affection were essential for his recovery, helping him overcome the emptiness and fear of abandonment. Taking care of such a fragile puppy required special attention, from frequent feeding to keeping him warm. This was only his 2nd bath, and, incredibly, Andrew already demonstrated a calm and obedience that touched our hearts. Time passed, and with a month of intensive care and lots of love, Andrew began to grow and develop. His body, now stronger and healthier, seemed like a new promise of life. He became more curious and lively every day, exploring the environment and playing with his toys, full of energy. Next to the bigger dogs, he still seemed small, but his transformation was remarkable. With every movement, it was possible to see his joy and desire to live a full and happy life. His curiosity about the world, which he was just beginning to know, was evident, and Andrew seemed to be discovering the pleasure of being just a puppy. Today, when you look at Andrew, you can't help but be moved by his journey of survival and overcoming obstacles. He defied all odds and was reborn. Now, with a future filled with love and care, he is ready to begin his journey. With every step, Andrew reminds us of the power of compassion and persistence, proving that love can, indeed, work miracles. Thank you for joining us in this moving story. Andrew is living proof that even in the most adverse circumstances, a second chance is possible, and his journey has only just begun.